Yo, what's up? I thought I'd show my ugly mug for once. I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring and do the Toneforge Disruptor demo that everyone's doing right now. I wanted to just see if I can get some cool stuff out of it. I did. I wrote like a 2-minute song or something like that for you guys so you guys can check it out. I even did a whole video playthrough, and I thought I was going to be the sickest shit ever, and it was going to be coming out tight, and I found out that one, my GoPro didn't work right, and then my phone wasn't recording right, so that kind of all went out the window. So I'm going to go back to what you guys are used to and just record the DAW and just show you guys what I wrote in the DAW and make a quick video about it and give you my recommendation at the end. And, let you guys know my thoughts and all that about it. All right, we're in Studio One. Let's check out the song I wrote for the demo. All right, so that was the song that I wrote for you guys for the demo. It was actually a lot of fun writing that one. It's a little bit usually outside of what I play. A little more melodic stuff, but all in all, good fun. So I gotta say, I'm a big fan of simplicity, and all of Toneforge plugins tend to be really, really simple. This is the most complicated one that I've seen in terms of amount of features that they provide you, and some really cool things that I actually haven't seen before in other plugins. So let's check out the rhythm guitar tone that I came up with. I used the replica, which is, I'm assuming, based off of Marshall, just by the way it looks. And they do give you 3 different amplifiers. I'm assuming this is a Mesa clean. I'm not too sure. But this is just a clean amp. This is like a mid-gain amp. And this is like a super high gain amp. Now let's check out that rhythm guitar tone solo. Now before I play it, I apologize. I did this really quick on the hurry, so you might hear a little bit of mistakes in the guitar. So just forewarning. So let's check out a riff with a lot of palm mutes. Now, I have to say this is the part that actually made me really like the plugin, was the interaction it has with palm mutes, especially 7-string guitars. Because of the way the palm mutes sound, they sound really like percussive and tight, like punchy. That was the word that came to mind when I was tracking it. It was really punchy. It was so sick. Yeah, man, that's so sick. Now they have these modes, and I don't know what they do under the hood, but I guess you can tailor the plugin for the type of guitar that you have. So I was using a 7-string, so that's what I decided to use, and I'm attuned to E standard on that 7-string. But from what I can tell when I was messing with it is that the amp responds differently depending on the input that you're feeding it when you have these modes engaged. When I did engage it in my case, I noticed it tightened up the amp a lot and it pushed up the mids a little bit more. So I thought that was really cool. Now you get a plethora of things to do on this plugin. You got some pedals that you can add, a chorus, delay, lo-fi, and reverb, all utilitarian pedals, which I find very useful. I mostly tend to just use overdrives on the front end. Now they give you cabinets that are, I think, utilitarian in nature, which would be a Mesa cab, a 2x12 Mesa cab, and a Marshall cab. I think that's really cool because those two tend to be the studio standards in terms of metal. And then you get, your choice of microphones as well. So you got a dynamic 57, you got a ribbon mic, you got a condenser mic, you got a 421, and etc. On top of that, you get to add more effects on the post side of things. So you get a chorus, delay, lo-fi, reverb, and overdrive. Again, this is where I usually tend to use the effects. Now, they do give you a really cool digital EQ that you can use. I know this looks a little crazy, but this was part of the preset that I picked, Roboticist, to use as a starting point. And I just kind of left the EQ that they chose, and I just tweaked the front end of the amp. And you do get an analog style EQ as well, which is always a pleasant thing to have when you can switch back between digital and analog EQs, more for surgical things like this on the digital side, and more for the sweetening things on the analog side. They also have this kill resonance feature, which was pretty sick. I can see that being really handy in a pinch when you really need to clean things up. And last and not least, my personal favorite feature of this plugin would actually be this autonomous dynamic system, which is basically just a multi-band compressor on the low end and a limiter on the end of the chain. I don't have the limiter engaged, but I do have the low end compressor engaged for those palm mutes. So let's check that out. Not totally needed for the tone that I came up with. There's not a lot of bass in it, but I did find that when I had the bass in there, it was kind of popping out a little bit too much. So let's check out some lead tones. That's the lead tone that I came up with. It's basically a slight variation of the rhythm guitar tone, so more mids, less treble, less presence, more bass, and a bit more gain across the board. I am not using an overdrive, which I thought I was, which is strange. I thought I was doing that. Same speaker cabinet, no post effects, same EQ, and same limiting. Let's check out another type of lead that I have here, some tremolo picked riff. That's for like the black metal part. I wanted it to be a little bit more spiny. Really cool stuff. You can pretty much do whatever you want with this plugin as far as I can tell. All right, so for the solo tone, I opted for the third amplifier, the Proto Mech, which is, I believe, the highest gain in the suite that they have here. So tons of bass, pushed mids, laid back treble and laid back presence. Some drive on the overdrive, and the level is quite high on the overdrive as well. No bass, and I also reduced the treble because I like my leads to sound liquidy. I went with the same cabinet setup as I did with my rhythm guitar tones, and I have a delay on the post effects. I love the fact that you can just add a delay or reverb or whatever else you need at the post effects without having to need to borrow any from your current plugin library that you have from third parties. I have it in ping pong mode. I have it on an 1/8 dotted note, feedback at 30%, and the mix at 20%. So let's check out how this sounds. Really, really cool liquidy kind of tone that I got out of the plugin. I love the way that sounds on solos. So let's all check it out again in context of the mix. All right, so now for my final thoughts on this plugin. Should you buy it? Should you wait for a sale? Or should you avoid it? In my humble personal opinion, I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. I personally think you should wait for it to be on sale. As great as it sounds, and I do really think it does sound great, in my complete honest opinion, it does sound really good. I don't think it's worth the price of admission for one reason and one reason alone. For what you're paying, I think there's better options out there that are a little bit simpler to use. In my personal opinion, what Toneforge's strengths are their simplicity. I think they went a little overboard with the amount of options that they give you, and I don't think this plugin is very suitable for beginners. Intermediate guys and advanced guys like us, go for it. I really think you guys can have a lot of fun with it. It's really simple to use when you already have some experience, but for the beginner guys, I don't think it's in your best interest to pick this up right away. I think it's a little bit more suited to pick up one of Toneforge's other plugins, which is actually, funny enough, my favorite plugin that they made, or my favorite amp sim, excuse me, is the Ben Bruce plugin. That thing is fucking sick, man. You just pop that motherfucker on a track, and the default setting sounds fantastic. It's like, I use that shit all the time. I use it to track. I use it to record demos, to just mess around with things. It's so simple, easy to use, simple interface, all of that. I think JST has gotten a lot better in terms of their user interfaces since the dawn of that particular plugin, but it's still the fact that I'm pigeonholed and I'm not given so many options with the Ben Bruce amp sim that allows me to be actually really, really creative in terms of actually writing music and doing productions. When you have too many options, at least for my personal experience, is that I get option paralysis and there's too much for me to pick from. I'd rather just have something that I can load up, have maybe 3 or 4 options, and just go for it. So I honestly think it's a great plugin, but I would honestly wait for it to be on sale. And personally, if you're on the beginner end of things, pick up the Menace or the Ben Bruce plugins. Those are fantastic. Those are going to be awesome and cover pretty much all the bases. If you're on the more intermediate level and the advanced level, I would honestly pick this one up. I have the Jeff Loomis one as well. And I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't buy this one first versus the Jeff Loomis. Had I known they would have came out with this one, I would have waited before I bought the Jeff Loomis because I actually do like this one a lot better. But that is just my opinion, maybe a bit controversial, but nonetheless, that is just my opinion. So if you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment below. I really appreciate you guys if you did that. And if you guys want to see the system that I used to record 2 self EPs all in the comfort in my bedroom with amp sims just as this one, go ahead and check out my link below to my online course where I teach you that exact system. Till next time, guys, lates.